Hi everybody, so today I'm going to talk to you about ASP.NET Core application like the MVC because it does not allow you to log in by email. In fact, Microsoft made it impossible to log in by email inside the identity structure. You are in fact logging by username and there is no function to log in by email. What Microsoft made to trick you thinking that you are logging by email is that you use your username and name it the same as your email. So you kind of believe that you're logging by email, but that's not the case. For me, this is a problem. On forum, for example, everybody know your username. That means if a hacker want to hack inside your account, you already got your user ID, your username. So all you have to find is your password. So for me, this is a security issue. Today, we will make a project that fix that issue. Okay, so let's start. The first thing we will do is create an MVC application. So let's start Visual Studio and we will click create a new project. In the search bar, we will type ASP.NET. We will select the web application ASP.NET Core MVC or Model View Controller. We'll click next. We will call our application login email and we will click next. We will select the .NET 6 LTS long-term support. If you know me, you know why. And as the authentication type, we will select individual account. We will of course use HTTPS. We will click create. So the first thing we will do is go inside the appsetting.json. Inside of it, we will see our database name. So right now it's ASP.NET-login email-n followed by a GUID. So let's erase ASP.NET dash. Let's keep login email and let's erase the GUID and the dash following up to the semicolon. So now our database name is login email. We save that. On the left side, you should have SQL Server Object Explorer. If you don't have it, you go in Display and you select this SQL Server Object Explorer. And in our SQL Server, we open it. We will open the database directory. And as you can see, for now, I don't have any database name login email. We need to create it. So we go in Tools. We go into the NuGet menu. We select NuGet Console. And we will type Update Database. Like that. And we click Enter. It will build the project. And then after that, it will update the database to create the login email database. When it's done, you will refresh your database directory and you will see your login email database that just appeared. So let's run our project for the first time. First, we will click on the drop down of the play button here. And you will do it a second time. I'll explain you why. Now you have a new menu, navigate with. You click on it and you can delete the browser you're not using. So I will delete Internet Explorer. I will click cancel. And if I go back to the browser list, now I have Edge and Opera. I will select Edge and I will run the program. So it will take a few seconds. And when it's run inside Edge browser, I should see a page like this. So I got a privacy page, I got a home page, I have a login page, and I have register page. So inside the register, I will create I will use a fake email, and I will use the proposed password, and I will click register. Once our account is created, it will ask me to confirm my email. Since I did not install the software required to confirm email, I will just click this link here. Now my email is confirmed. Now I can log in. So click login, enter my credential, and click login again. So now I'm logged in. As you can see on the upper right, you see my email here. If I click on it, I go into my profile. I cannot edit my username, but I can change my email here. Like I said to you before, you cannot log in by email. Microsoft forbid it. So what it does, in fact, if you change your email, your username will also change, because that's what they use to log you in. And they prevent you from changing your username, because otherwise it will appear as if you log in with something different. Because on the login page, it's written here, email, as you see here, but you are in fact logged in by username. So we need to modify this page, the login page. So we will do that in the next section. So how do we modify the login page? Well, if we go here in the area, in identity, in page, you see that we don't have all the page of the identity. That's because they are included inside a DLL provided by Microsoft. But we need them in order to modify them. So we need to scaffold them. How do we do that? We go on our project here, we right-click, we select Add, and you will have here New Element Generated Automatically. In English, it should be New Scaffolded Item. So you click there, select here Identity, you select Identity here, and you click the Add button. Now, when you got all the files that can be scaffolded, you will click Replace All File, and you will select here your application DB context. So you click the Add button, and you let him continue to do his work. As you see here now, under the area identity page, I got a few more files. Then I got an account directory, which I got a bunch of files. I also got a manage directory, which also contains a bunch of files. So what do we have to do now? That's what we will see in the next section. In this step, we will start to modify our web page. So first of all, we will go inside the view directory, in the shared directory, and you will see you will have a login partial. So if you open that page, you will see that when we are logged in, you see the message, hello, your username, followed by an exclamation mark. So let's just change that. We will remove the hello, and we will remove the exclamation mark. Now we will go into the area. Under the manage account, we will check for file name index.cshtml, and we will look for the C# file under it. So as you see inside the HTML file, under username, there is the disable code in order to forbid you to modify the content of the username text box. So we will remove that. And we will also rename the username for username with the uppercase N. And we will also add what we see here, input dot. So you will have input dot username with an uppercase N. As you see for now, it is in error because it does not recognize that, because it's not written yet inside the C# file. So let's go inside the C# file. Inside the C# file, about here, call username, we will erase that property. So what we will do, we will insert that property inside our input model. So we'll copy the display name. We will call it user space name. We will copy the string property that we will call username, which we will be creating with an uppercase N. So public string username get set. So now you will go down a little in the load async function. And as you can see here, you got username equal username. We remove that line because this is referring to the old property that we deleted. And inside the input, you will enter right before the phone number, username equal username. What we're doing instead of using the old property, we're now using the input model we modified using username, and we attributed the value of the username. Now we need to go further down below. As you can see, we are modifying the phone number, but we are not modifying the username when the user changed the username. So what we'll do, we'll copy this line here, modify it, and it's pretty much the same as the phone number. So we will copy inside of that bracket here. We will just modify it, set user name result, modify this here, and await set username async. We'll change input dot phone number for input dot username. We will now normalize the status message. So instead of saying unexpected error when trying to set phone number or set username, we'll just change that to update database. And we do the same thing for the other error message here. Now we have normalized messages. The last thing we will do is, as you have noticed here, we are checking if the user found is null. And if it's null, we stop the process right there by returning. That means that if we continue, the user is not null. So here I will use the user. Instead of using that line here, remove that line. And instead of phone number, I will use user.phone number. So I kind of improve those lines there. So it's pretty much complete for that page. So my current setting with Visual Studio is to include bracket here like that here on the same line. So what I will do, I will just select all, cut, and paste. So it will just fix all the bracket to my convenience. So now as you see, all the code, all the brackets are on the same line. So let's run this to see our change that we've made. So let's log in with the credential we had early. The first change we will notice is here we don't have an hello and an exclamation mark anymore. Now if you go here, you can see that my text box is no longer disabled. So let's make some change. I will enter a phone number. I will update. It says my profile have been updated. And now I will change the username. So I will enter my username and I will click save. Notice that my profile has been updated, and if you check on the upper right place, you will see now my username is Genetic Wolf. Now, my email didn't change. So if I log out and try to log in again, one would assume that it will still work, but it's not working because it doesn't recognize my email. Why is that? In the past, like explained, for Microsoft, username and email are the same. Therefore, Microsoft make you believe you're logging with your email, but you are in fact logging in by your username. So if I enter my username here, it will not log in because it does not recognize this as an email address. And now I can no longer log in by the email because it's trying to enter this as the username. So this is what we will fix in the next step. There is also another change that we should not forget to do. Go into the Area Identity Page account and scroll down until you see the confirmation email change. So open the C# file associated with it and scroll all the way down to the end of the file. In the bottom, you see this little warning. In our UI, email and username are one and the same. So when we update the email, we need to update the username. This is no longer true. Therefore, we need to remove completely that block. So when you change the email, you don't change the username. Before we fix our login, there's one thing we need to fix first. So if you go in your page account, don't go in manage directory because the same file exists there. It's called external login, but this is not the file I want. Don't go in manage. It's an account and you will find the file external login. So if you go in external login, which means Google, Facebook, and stuff like that, and you go around line 156. Right here, you will see that if you change your email, it will also change your username. This is something we don't want. It does that because, like I said, for Microsoft, the username and the email are the same. So we will just comment out that line so it does not modify our username. So just save on that. And now we'll just do as I did early. We select all, cut and paste. So it fixes all my bracket. Now we need to fix the login by itself. So the web page is called login, and we will go inside that file. So we will need to modify the login so it really accepts the email instead of the username as the login. So there is a line inside the external login that we will need. Go inside the external login C# file, and the beginning of the class you will see this line, the sign-in manager, and under it the user manager. Let's copy that line. Don't need that file anymore, and you will go in the login C# file, and you will see in the beginning of the class you see the sign-in manager, and under it you will paste the line that you just copy for the user manager. So the user manager will help us retrieve the username based on the email. That's what we will do a little bit later. We will need to initialize the user manager. In order to initialize the user manager, you will need to enter the model inside the constructor. So inside login model, we'll add here user manager of type identity user, and we will call it user manager. Now we'll take our new global variable and we will assign it from the constructor. Okay, so I'll just note here, also write this for me for later on. The rest of the file does not change that much up until the onPost async. So inside the onPost async, we need to retrieve the username based on the email provided by the user. We will modify this section here. First of all, we will create a 10th user. We will assign it with await, and our user manager dot find by email async, and we will use our input email address. Now, it's possible that some user entered an invalid email address, so we need to check if that return a valid user. So this is all the content of that bracket here. Now, if that does not land, therefore if the user is null, we will need to return here. So what we will do is we'll take that else here We will move it there, here, and we'll copy that little warning here. So if we got this far, something failed, we display form. So invalid login attempt, return page. So here, the else we will remove. If it's end here, well, it will end then here, and it will work also. Since we got the user here, if it's not null, we will then have here, instead of the input email, if you check the signature of that function, you will have two signatures. You can log in either by username, or we can log in by the full user. If you already got the full user, you probably don't have to log in. So since the only option we got is to log in by the username, and we have retrieved the full user from that email, meaning that here we will replace that by temp user.username, and we will use the input password. And if that is a match, then it will succeed. That's pretty much for the modification here. So what I will do, I select all, cut, and paste. Fix all my bracket. And here I will modify, we modify up to the line 133. So I will enter here 133, which is that line here. And now it should work. So let's try it. So let's try to log in. We use the same credential, login. As you see, we logged in properly. Now I can modify the username. As you see, the display name here is called user space name. This is the display name I modified early inside the input model. So we now have an MVC template that can log in using the real email. Let's continue to follow me, and in a future video, we will check out how to integrate user and email validation and other stuff like that. See you soon.